Welcome to the WordPress Photography Podcast, the podcast for photographers who want to learn how to get the most out of WordPress to grow their photography business. You don't need to be a geek to understand WordPress. Settle back and listen as we show you how. Now, here's your host, Scott Wyden-Kivowitz.
Welcome to episode 38. My name is Scott Wyden-Kivowitz, and I'm joined by my guest, Daniel Usenko. Daniel grew up in the former Soviet Union in a tiny republic called, I'm going to get this right, Abkhazia. Pretty good? Okay. So when he was 7, a civil war broke out, and after a year of brutal warfare, Daniel's family escaped to Russia and eventually to the United States as refugees. When he was 16, he started a wedding videography business, and at 21, he decided to switch to photography. All in all, he has documented weddings for over 15 years. And a few years ago, Daniel co-founded a software company, a startup that first changed the photography world with smart albums, and is now about to do the same thing with a really cool new app, service, feature called Smart Slides, a simple slideshow software. Man, that's a tongue twister. I'm really excited to have you here. We've known each other online really for a couple years now, I guess. A few years now, I don't know. And been a fan of what you guys are doing. You gave me access to Smart Slides during the beta, and then I still have access and been playing with it. And it's so much fun, so easy to use. So I'm really excited to share what you guys have going on with the listeners and viewers of the podcast, because as everybody is listening and watching this will find out, video is very important for your photography website, and it can really enhance the experience that you're giving your client. So before we dive into what's going on with you, though, let's talk about some WordPress photography related news. The first one that I have is Press Shack, a new company, has forked a plugin that is made by Automatic, the people behind Jetpack, called Edit Flow. Now, this is basically a great plugin. Edit Flow is a great plugin for any blog or any website that has multiple authors. So if you have a wedding photography business and you have multiple photographers that do the shooting in your business and you want them to also blog, yes, you can give them access, but Edit Flow gives you a lot of multi-author tools, like a multi-author editorial calendar and different sort of stages that you can give content and tasks lists that you can create for content and things like that. So Edit Flow hasn't been updated in a while. It's kind of ugly. It does a good job, but it's just very basic. So Press Shack forked it, basically made a legal copy of the plugin, and it's now created. This copy is called Publish Press. And it's basically aiming to be the best multi-user editorial workflow for WordPress. So check that out. It's free in the repo, in the WordPress directory, and there's going to be paid add-ons in the future. The next bit of news is adding images to the WordPress sidebar and video to the sidebar, and I think even PDFs, any media from the media library, is about to get a lot easier. There's a new widget that is currently in beta, and anybody is welcome to download this plugin and install it on their WordPress site to try it. It's called a feature plugin because basically it's a feature that's in a plugin form that they're testing out and fine-tuning so they can eventually put it into the core of WordPress. So this plugin will eventually be in WordPress, which means everybody will have access to it eventually. But basically, if you want it, you can just go to the show notes, click on the link with this piece of news, and you'll be able to download this plugin into your site and be able to add images to your sidebar or video to your sidebar, any media, easily without having to do copy paste in HTML. So that's a really nice thing. That is finally WordPress is having something that should have been there since day one. And the last bit of news, my favorite WordPress security company, which is called Security, was just acquired, and to my great shock, they were acquired by GoDaddy. Now, I don't know what that's going to mean for security. They offer the best security scanning and hack cleanup out there. I think it's between $99 and $200 depending on the site and the hack, but Now that GoDaddy owns it, I don't know what's going to happen to them. So I just thought that was really interesting, and we will see. Now this smaller but still one of the biggest security companies in the WordPress space is now a company of one of the largest, or the largest hosting company in the world. So yeah, it's probably good news. It's definitely good news for them. We'll see. We'll see what it means for customers. So Daniel, what is going on with you guys at Pixeloo and with Smart Slides and with Smart Albums, and what do you guys have going on?
Well, first, thanks for having me on the show. I really appreciate it.
Yeah.
What's going on? Well, funny thing is, yesterday we just released an update that makes Smart Slides embed responsive, which is for about a month. When we launched it, we had some responsive issues, but finally, if anybody embeds the slideshow onto like a WordPress blog or a website, it's gonna scale down when you're on your phone. So other than that, man,
it's funny. You guys recently released Smart Slides. You now have responsive embed. YouTube, which has been around for who knows how long, still does not have responsive embed.
Yeah, it's
so good job getting way ahead of the curve. That is really good for you guys to do.
Wow, I actually didn't know that didn't have responsive embed. That's crazy.
Yep.
I guess we're way ahead of the curve. They should acquire us for billions of dollars.
Yeah. Yeah, that's for sure.
Yeah, but no, like I said, we recently launched Smart Slides. It's been really exciting. We've been working on the project for over 2 years before we released it, which is crazy. It required a lot of patience, but we released it just over a month ago, and just improving it now. It's all exciting times for sure.
Yeah. So before we get any further, I just want to mention, because I don't know if that was I don't recall if you said it. Responsive, just for anybody who's listening who doesn't understand what responsive is, it means that it will scale down and just sort of shrink nicely in proportion on mobile devices. So if you have your site designed, a certain way with the video nice and large, on mobile, obviously you want everything to go down, so it'll just sort of shrink nicely. So, and what I was saying with YouTube video won't shrink nicely, but a Smart Slide video will. So.
Yeah. Responsive is it basically means that it'll work as well on your phone as it does on the computer.
Yeah.
That's basically what it comes down to.
Yeah. So you guys are working on some new features, right? So what other features are you going to be releasing soon or have in the pipeline?
Oh yeah, we have lots in the pipeline, but it's all about, you can dream up a lot of things, but we're going with what our customers want the most right now. And what our customers want the most is an ability to download a video version of the slideshow.
Right.
For those listening that are not familiar what the product is, it's a slideshow software that's on the web, and the final result is a link that you can send to your clients. And you can also, as I mentioned, embed that slideshow onto your website. But the website, the slideshow itself is basically a web HTML5 slideshow. But some photographers would want to download a video version of the slideshow so that they can either sell it or whatever they want to do with it. And so right now we're finalizing the video download feature so that it's going to be ready in the end of April, which is going to be about a week or two away from this podcast now.
Awesome. So to give everybody an example of how useful this might be, I just recently added a new Cake Smash photography page to my website. I'm going to be pushing that service more for my own photography work. And I made a smart slide of 3 different Cake Smash sessions I did, sort of mashed into one. I think it was like a 3 or 4 minute slideshow, and it was done so easily because the software is that easy. And then I have access to this download feature, which is in beta right now, and I downloaded the video file, uploaded it to my YouTube channel, and now I have another video on my YouTube channel, and I embedded that. I could have just used the responsive embed feature that was just released in Smart Slides, but I have it on my YouTube channel because I'm trying to push my YouTube channel more. So it's sort of like a sneaky way for me to potentially get more views and more subscribes. But So now when I'm linking to a sample slideshow that's included in one of the packages or in each of the packages, that I'm doing it to a video that Smart Slides created, but I downloaded the file and brought it to my YouTube. So
yeah, that's cool. That's really cool. The embed feature is great, but there's obviously benefits from posting on YouTube or Vimeo or somewhere like that. And it is more work because you have to download it, you have to upload it to some other channel, then you have to like embed that. So the embed feature saves you time and the fact that you can just copy the embed code right away and embed it. But everybody has a different workflow.
Yeah, and not every photographer cares about building up a YouTube following.
Yeah.
So if you don't care about that, then use the tool that you're given. I mean, I was originally just linking to the Smart Slide page, what was created for me. So just a matter of what works best for you.
Yeah, everybody has a different workflow. That's what I learned with Smart Albums and Smart Slides. Every photographer is different, and it's a bad idea for software companies to like force you to use their way. And so options are good.
Yeah, they are. Yeah. So what else do you have going on?
Oh man, well, we have so many user requests, feature requests. Even though we spent 2 years polishing it up, and we spent actually more time making Smart Slides than we did Smart Albums. But once you release it, there are things that you may not have known that people want, and so you have to prioritize. And the features. One of the ones that we're really, really excited about is beat matching. A lot of photographers spend a couple hours in Adobe Premiere to make something really fancy when the slides match the beat. So we're trying to make that a really, really simple process, something that you can do in 3-4 minutes instead of hours. And we have a guy with us working right now that he spent, I believe, something like over 20 years in the music industry to work with us to make this process of beat matching like really fast and really easy, and for it to look good. So that's probably the most exciting thing right now. Because I know I've been to a few conferences, and sometimes the speakers, they put up a slideshow of their work, and it's like super fancy with like matching to beat like perfectly. And everybody's like, whoa, how did you do that? And the answer is always like, yeah, I did it in Premiere and it took me hours. But we're going to be able to do it in minutes. So yeah, that's awesome. Probably the biggest thing right now.
That sounds great. Yeah, I look forward to seeing that feature. That's for sure. So you mentioned before we started recording that you're doing a workshop. So what you want to tell me about that?
Yeah, I am doing a workshop. It's free. That's I'm doing it with a friend of mine, Dina. She's been a friend of mine for a while, and we've shot together many, many times. And one day we're texting each other and we're like, we should do a workshop. And like, yeah, let's do a workshop. But I mean, we as a company sponsor so many workshops in the world that I kind of know what works, what doesn't work. And so we decided to do a free one so that it, I don't know, just to give back. I really love teaching. I've taught workshops in Mexico and the US and Canada and a bunch of places. And I just really love teaching, and it's a way for us to give back. So we got too many applicants now, so we have to narrow it down to whom to accept.
Nice. Yeah, that sounds great. So let's talk about video and photography websites, right? Now, I'm a big advocate for including video content on your photography website. The most obvious of late is using About Me videos. The concept of, instead of just having text on your About page, you're including an actual sort of short film about you, the photographer, hopefully filmed by a professional videographer, not just anything, that really not just sells you as a photographer, but really lets people connect with who you are as a human being, right? And so that's just one example of video content. How would people use something like a slideshow on their site in various places? Like what would you recommend? Where would you tell photographers to consider using such content?
Good question, and I can talk about this for a really long time. So going back real fast to the workshop that we're doing, right? We got in 2 days, we got over 50 applicants. And
Nice.
for us, it was very difficult to choose who we want to be part of the workshop, because we want people who really we want to make sure their personalities match with ours. And so what did we do? We asked them, we emailed all of them and said, you got to send us a video of yourself, even if it's on your iPhone, telling us about yourself, because there's so little that you can get out of text. Even when we ask like questions, show us your portfolio, why do you want to take the workshop, all those things, it was really hard to tell apart, the candidates that kind of deserve it from those that are just looking kind of to like waste their time and hours a little bit. So we asked them to send us a video, and the video was so revealing as to like how much passion they have, what they care about, all those things. So in a similar way, when somebody comes to your website, they can just read something that looks exactly like the other 50 photographers that they visited their websites. There's just a very limited amount of information that you can get out of text. So having a video is, almost like meeting the person a little bit. You know what their personality is, what they care about, what their passion is, and right away it makes you stand out and it makes you really, for the client basically to meet you before they can actually meet you. So I think video is definitely really, really important. And even for Pixelo right now, we are investing heavily into video. We have a person that's dedicated, their full-time job is to make videos. But as far as smart slides, how to use that in the business, I think the reason that slideshows are really effective and important in the first place is because you're using the element of music, and music is very emotional, and it communicates on another level. It's much different than having a gallery and just clicking next, 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 next. Slideshows have that emotional music aspect, but also they allow the photographer to control what images are seen when and with what emotions they're being watched. So if you add a sad song with emotional images, you're getting basically a 4x return on the emotional feedback there. And then if you're having like a party scene with party music, you're getting them excited and you're putting them into a fun mood. So I would say that for just videos and slideshows, the reason that they're more effective is because you're not just using the visual aspect, you're also using the hearing, and you're able to combine those two to create something more impactful than if you're just looking at images themselves.
Right. That is for sure. Yeah. So one of the places that I often recommend people to make slideshows and include it in with content is in blog posts. So yes, you can deliver a video slideshow to a client, which I think is a good idea, to actually give them access to the video, whether you are keeping it on Smart Slides and just giving them the link to view, or if you're downloading it and archiving it elsewhere for them to get. But I think embedding it in a blog post when you're actually blogging about that session or that event, I think that is extremely beneficial, because you're giving them some stills that they can look at and just click and view without it changing, right? And then you're also giving them this sort of more engaging content that has this more emotion because of the music, with clean transitions and whatnot. And you're given the ability to view it that way. That's one area that I recommend for photographers to do. Another is in proofing galleries, right? Because a good example of this is my sister-in-law just had a baby, and they had the hospital photographer photograph the photos while still in the hospital, like on day one, and when they looked at the photos, which were in proofing just thumbnail form, they actually didn't even look at those. They looked at the mobile video slideshow that they were given every single time, because of the music that came with it, and that's what made them cry, not the stills. Mm-hmm. It was the video that made them cry and then want to buy everything.
Right. No, absolutely. I actually had a photographer email us and say that she made a blog post of her favorite 2016 images. You know how photographers do like best of the year. And she made a blog post with just those images. And then a month later, she made a slideshow with the same images. And she said that she got much, much better response with the slideshow than she did with just the images. Again, because we're emotional people, and we like stories, and like music means a lot to us. It brings a lot of emotion to it. So yeah, it's for whatever reason. I mean, we don't have to dig into psychology, but the fact is that the response is just much stronger when you involve another sense, the hearing into it.
Yeah. So one thing that I do with my proofing galleries, and I'm going to be doing this with Smart Slides now more often, is I have a hidden area on my site where I can add my proofing galleries and password protect to send that link off to the clients. And that's still what I'm doing. And I'm actually using NextGen Gallery, NextGen Pro in order to do that. And the client can go on there and proof, and then they can actually purchase at the same time, or whatever I enable. But what I'm going to be doing from now on is basically taking all the pics that I picked from that session that I put in the proofing gallery. I'm also going to be putting into a Smart Slides slideshow, and basically embedding that right above the actual proofing gallery. So that way the clients basically have two forms of looking at the photos still in video, and one of which they can actually proof with, but one they can put full screen and take advantage of on their phone or on the computer.
I got another idea. It's even better.
What's that?
Let me share. I forgot to mention that one of the things that we're working on, we're going to be adding in a few months. We're going to be adding a ability to add a custom link to the slideshow. So what you could do is you could have a custom link that links to your proofing gallery, and you can name it something like buy prints or all images or whatever it is. Great. So that way you can just send the slideshow to them, and right in that slideshow there'll be a button that says whatever it is that you want to say, whether it be buy prints or all images. And that way, if you want to make sure that for the first time that they see their images, they're watching in the slideshow, but then the slideshow doesn't leave them going nowhere, it actually has a link out, then you can also add the proofing gallery in there. And that way you're kind of controlling, what they're seeing first and what they're seeing next too. So that's, I think that will be really powerful too.
That's awesome. Yeah, that's very appealing. So that'll be a nice feature once it's out too. Is there an ETA on that one, or is that just
right now? We already have it. We already have it conceptualized. We already have all the buttons drawn and all the buttons chosen and all the UX done for it. Now it's a matter of implementing it, and I would say the ETA is sometime mid to early summer. So probably, in 2-3 months from now. And then you could have a slideshow like you explained as part of the proofing gallery, so the two are linking back and forth.
Yeah.
So it doesn't matter where the viewer lands, they can see the other product as well.
Yep, and that actually will save a little bit of space, so they can get right to their thumbnails to proof, or they can click right to the slideshow. Yeah, that's awesome.
Because you're not sure what they'll be sharing. They might share the proofing gallery, or they might share the slideshow. So regardless of where their family or their friends land, they can find the other piece as well.
Yeah, I like it.
Yeah.
So what else what other type of video content do you recommend for photographers to consider, or that you think is beneficial for photography websites in general?
Good question. I one of the things that some photographers I've seen do, which is pretty cool, is they take all the images they took at the wedding, and by all I mean like literally all, like 5,000 or 6,000 that they have.
Wow.
And take all of them and put them into, well, maybe not 5,000, but let's just say 1,000 images, and put them into a slideshow that's, say, like 5 minutes long. And that way the whole thing is crazy fast, and you're seeing each image just for a fraction of a second, but it's telling the whole story in a way that's like super unique. It takes as fast as it takes to upload those 1,000 images. So probably just put it in upload, add a song, go get some coffee or tea or whatever, come back, and then it's a new interesting kind of a stop motion type of storytelling that is quite unique, and not a lot of photographers are doing it. But now that it's really easy to do, I think it's just a very cool, impressive thing. And maybe that's not the first thing you're showing to the clients. You probably want to just show a standard slideshow in the beginning. But I think that's just it's just a really cool thing. And now that you can download the slideshow too, you can actually sell that, so make some extra money from it too.
Right.
For photographers, yeah. Like even if it's like $100, I mean, it took you 5 minutes. In 5 minutes making $100 is a good ROI on your time.
Exactly. Yeah. And that's one of the big advantages of being able to download the videos, being able to actually deliver that file to your clients and charge them for it. Like for the cake smash sessions that I'm doing, I actually put it in the packages just so it's sort of a value add. But if I was doing a wedding, that's a major upsell right there to be able to give them. And these videos are also 4K, aren't they?
The videos aren't 4K yet.
Okay.
We're thinking and about the 4K videos, but the actual slideshow that's on the web is 4K.
Okay.
So when you embed, if you embed the slideshow onto your blog and they click to go into full screen, they'll be seeing it in 4K if their monitor is 4K.
Awesome. Yeah. So, if you did eventually add 4K to the download, that means that you're giving like the absolute highest possible quality that's available to people right now, to consumers right now. Let's say you did a wedding that was 5,000, you upsold $100 for this extra slideshow that took you 5 minutes. That's It's like drop the mic.
Exactly. And what we recommend doing is we recommend making the slideshow itself for free, so that they fall in love with it, and then if they want to download the feature, then you sell it to them, because people don't want to spend more money. Everybody wants to save. But once you show it to them, it's hard to say, oh yeah, I don't want it for $100 or $200 or whatever it is you put a price on.
Will there be a feature down the road so that people could buy the slideshow right from the slideshow that they're viewing? That they can buy the download?
Mm-hmm. That's something that we're thinking about, but what you could do now is you could actually enable the download for the bride to be able to download the slideshow from the link you send her to, but add a PIN, like a PIN password, to the download. So if she sees that you can download it, but she sees there's a PIN, she can contact you and try to get the PIN. You can say, well, actually, the download is $200 or whatnot. Then once she sends you the $200, you can send her the PIN to make that download. So you don't even have to do the work of sending her the thing. She can just...
Nice. Do it right from there.
Yeah.
That is awesome. Yep. That's really cool. Anything else that... So the whole stop motion, time lapse, super speed, hyperlapse, whatever you want to call it, type video. That was a great tip. I think that a lot of photographers should take advantage of that. Yeah. Any other ideas that come to mind of video styles? I mentioned briefly that when I have went to conferences, one of the most impressive things that people, the speakers show, is a really cool beat matched slideshow of their work, right? Random images from random weddings, and it makes the photographer look better than even they are, because it's such an impressive thing. So soon, we're gonna when we have the beat matching capability, I think it's gonna be really cool for photographers to have that either on their homepage of the website, or maybe something that they send to clients who are inquiring, a slideshow of their work. The best of their images in a really cool beat match slideshow, simply because, again, it's just for whatever reason with the music, it looks very impressive. You can have the worst images in that slideshow, but because it's produced so well, it just makes you look so good. I mean, you can do that now without the beat matching. You can just, like I mentioned a few minutes ago, a photographer made a slideshow of her
best photos from 2016, and that got a lot better response than when she just blogged about those photos. So I think, to summarize, just taking your best work, putting it into a slideshow, and having it as a way to introduce new clients to your work, it can be really powerful.
Yeah, if you're doing, let's say you're a wedding photographer and you're doing, let's say, four weddings a month, right? That's a pretty decent amount. And let's say on the first week of every month, you do a video that's sort of like that, where it's a beat match, and you are doing it from every photo from what's today? Today's April, right? So every photo from March every your favorite from every wedding you did in March 2017, and you're doing it so it's the previous month every month. You could do it as a blog post, again, sort of what I was saying with the stills plus the video, so people can look at both, because everybody likes something different. Not everybody loves video, but not everybody loves looking at stills. Some people don't care about music. Some people love music. So if you give everybody, and then you also want the text part of the blog post as well. But if you give people the best of every possible engaging content, then it's a win-win. I mean, it's the same reason why this podcast, we're doing it as video, we're doing it as audio, and we're also having every episode transcribed. So there's text. We want everybody to be able to consume the podcast in whatever way is best for them.
Yeah, no, right? I absolutely agree. Some people are just, they're in a public place and they're scrolling. And some people are in a private place and they want the music. It's kind of like when you call those, corporations, and you're in the bus and it says, representative. You're trying to yell into the phone, right?
Yeah. Customer service representative.
Yeah.
It's like you never say anything monotone until you have to say that over and over and over again.
Right. So if somebody's at work and they are looking at the images, they want to look at the images. The slideshow may not be the best way because there's audio there, and you're not going to be able to hear the audio because you wouldn't want others to hear it. So you might just want to scroll through it, and a blog post is definitely better for that. But if you're doing like a premiere where they're seeing the images for the first time at home, then a slideshow is better because of the music. So I completely agree with you that you have to provide options for people and for them to consume it the way they want to consume it.
Yeah. Awesome. So let's dive into what plugin you recommend for people to check out. Now, the one that I know that you're going to be mentioning is not one that the average photographer will use, but I think it's important for people to know that this exists and the benefits of it. Because, let's talk about it. What's the plugin you recommend?
Yeah. Well, the plugin is called Easy Digital Downloads, EDD for short, and we use it to run our e-commerce side of the Pixelu business. So whenever someone tries to buy smart albums or smart slides, that plugin is the one that processes, the order and keeps the list of users, customers, gives you reports on sales, etc. And sure, it may not be a common plugin that a photographer would use, but if they ever thought of selling anything, whether that be a workshop or a PDF or who knows what it is, it's a great plugin that works right into WordPress and allows you to do all those things.
Yeah, so a good example is anybody who's watching, listening, who is thinking about or already does sell ebooks or Lightroom presets, Photoshop actions, things like that. When I first started selling my Lightroom presets and my PDF ebooks, I was using Easy Digital Downloads, and I love it. Pippin, who is the lead developer for Easy Digital Downloads, super nice guy, extremely knowledgeable, one of the best WordPress developers in the world, and I had no problem using Easy Digital Downloads because of how much the degree that I knew it was well coded and going to just function the way it says it's going to function. And I love it, still do love it, and I have switched to WooCommerce, and I only switched for one reason, because I needed to sell courses because I'm now doing online courses, and there's only one plugin that works seamlessly. One learning system, a learning management system, which is like for selling first courses, that works seamlessly with the popular e-commerce plugins, and that's called Sensei, and that's also made by WooCommerce. So, if there was a LMS or learning management system plugin that was seamless with Easy Digital Download, and there are many that work with EDD, but not all are seamless, I would still be using EDD. Over WooCommerce. So anybody who is considering only selling things that are downloadable, like PDFs or ebooks, then I do recommend checking out EDD, because it is awesome. So.
Yeah, I actually, for my personal website, because I still have also a personal website, I have produced 5 years ago a DVD, educational DVD that was actually sold in many countries. But the way that we delivered the digital download of the DVD is we were able to hook it up to Amazon S3, and whenever somebody made a purchase, they automatically got a link that expired within a certain amount and all that. So it was very quite sophisticated for what I thought a WordPress plugin could do.
Yeah. I definitely think Easy Digital Downloads paved the way for a lot of unique things that WordPress is doing these days. A lot of different plugins are doing. I know that we were inspired by a lot of what EDD is doing when we built our e-commerce system as well. So it's a great plugin, and they actually just raised their prices too. I don't know if you knew that, but
no, how much is it now?
To get their extension, the EDD itself is free, but to get all the extensions, it went up a lot. So like their core starter, which has like 20 extensions, is now $800.
Oh, wow.
So it went up a lot.
I mean, they are selling it to people who are selling something, so I guess they know they have the money.
Yeah, exactly. So before we close up, I'm curious if you guys have any other new projects outside of Smart Slides and Smart Albums, anything new up your sleeve that you want to share that's coming down the pipeline at some point, even if you don't have a date or even details yet, just like a hint of. No new projects at the moment. Our big project all the time is to improve what we have. For instance, in a month or so, we're going to be releasing a Spanish and Portuguese version of Smart Albums because we have such a big international audience that's using it. So right now we're focusing on improving what we have. We don't want to spread ourselves too thin. Nice. I like it. Sometimes you do need to step back from new projects and just improve. That's business. That's software as a service. That's even us as photographers. We need to do that and stop branching out and just make our own product and services better. So
absolutely.
Yeah, I love it. Cool. Well, thank you, Daniel, for joining the show today. You can find the show notes from today's episode and where to find Daniel at imagely.com/podcast/38.
Awesome. Thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate it.
Yeah. Glad that you're able to join. And I think I invited you when we first started the discussion about getting you on was right when you announced to us Smart Slides. So, yeah. And we'll definitely have you on again, as things progress and maybe new features that we can talk about and share that are beneficial for, the listeners as well. So awesome. We'll have you back at some point.
Awesome. Thank you.
You've been listening to the WordPress Photography Podcast. To listen to other episodes and to subscribe to the podcast via iTunes, Stitcher, Google Play, and more, please visit imagely.com/podcast.